Good evening, everyone. This is Veer Maheshwar Charitable Trust Latur MS India organizing daily international webinar series. This series is running from last 5 years and speakers are invited from India and abroad. Every day we are listening to topics related to education, health, law, technology. Every topic is accepted here. In today's session, we have invited Aditi Bains ma'am, who is assistant professor at Graphics Shila Era Hill University, Dehradun. And the topic is from conflict to collaboration, choosing the right conflict management style. I welcome you, ma'am, from our organization and from all the participants, those who are joined here. This topic is very much useful to all because when we work in the organization, the situation of conflict occurs. But how to find the solutions? What will the right way? How it will be managed? She will explain in her next speech. I welcome him again, ma'am, again, and I request you can start your speech now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the welcome note. And hello, everyone. I am Dr. Aditi, and today we are going to discuss about the conflict and conflict management styles in the organization. So just give me a minute so that I can present my presentation.
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for letting me know. So the today's topic for discussion is workplace conflict strategies and management. So conflict is very a relevant topic because when we talk about conflict, it's not something that we have never experienced in our life. Be it a conflict with our friends, family, colleagues, superiors, or in the organization, it's something that we all have experienced at least once, right? So, but the main question is conflict always negative? So by the end of the session, we'll be able to answer this question. And I hope by the end of the session, you'll be able to see conflict from a different point of view. So this is going to be the flow of my presentation. Just a second, sir. Sorry for the delay, but I'm not able to change the PPT. That's why it is taking time. Just give me a second.
Now we are seeing the agenda.
So this is going to be the agenda of the flow of the presentation. First of all, we are going to discuss about the conflicts. Then from the organizational point of view, what conflict actually is, different levels of the conflict and causes of conflict and different style of conflict management and the process of conflict management or the resolution. So what is basically conflict? Conflict is something that when we hear the word conflict, what comes to our mind? The first thing that comes to our mind is a fight or argument. But actually, conflict is not an argument. It is a basically the difference in the opinion or difference in the point of view of the people, and it is not always negative. When we think of conflict, we always think as it as a negative thing, but it is not actually negative. If we tackle the conflicts from a constructive way, then it is going to be bring us a positive outcome. Then when we talk about workplace conflict, whenever the conflict is because of in the organization or related to the organizational things or organizational topics, it is called workplace conflicts. So when we talk about the definition of workplace conflict, it states that it is the difference of opinion or the perception, or when we perceive that the other person is against us. So the main thing that is here is that we perceive that the other person is against us. Maybe he is actually not against us, but कई बार हमें लगता है we think that the other person is against us and we take it as a conflict, but actually they are not. Actually, they are not against us. Next is the point of view or the view about the conflict from the workplace. There are three basic views of conflict when we talk about workplace. It is traditional, human relation, and interactionist view. So when we talk about traditional view is basically that takes the conflict stating that it is always negative and it decreases the level of performance in the organization. So whenever there is a conflict, according to the traditional view, we must be doing, for the first thing that we will be doing is to remove the conflict from the organization. Otherwise, it is going to hamper the performance in the organization. Next point of view is human relation view. This approach is different from the traditional view. It says that whenever there are human beings, they are going to have different point of views, and if they are going to have different point of view, we cannot avoid it. So conflicts are part and parcel of the organization, and we must take take that it is going to be, conflicts are naturally going to occur in the organization. Then there is third point of view, that is interactionist view. It's stated that the approach of the conflict is not negative, rather it is positive. So when we talk about interactionist view, it says that if everyone in the meeting or everyone in the discussion says yes, and they are not against or they are not contradicting the other person's point of view, we are not going to get the innovative or creative ideas. So to be for the group to remain creative and self-critical, there should be some conflict, but the conflict should be resolved in a constructive way. Then there are different levels of the conflict. At different levels, the conflict could be there. So if we start, the conflict is at very basic level is at the interpersonal level. Interpersonal is when we have the conflict within ourselves, with us only. So when we have two choices, we do have conflict, which choice to take, which choice to leave. So in this, we have three approaches. First is approach conflict. Whenever we have two positive options and we have to choose one option out of the two alternative, it is called approach conflict. So for example, if I say that you have to choose between a promotion and a new job in the firm, that is, both the options are very good, both are the positive options. So which one you are going to choose? It is called an approach conflict. In your mind, you are going to have different conflict. Shall I go with the promotion or shall I go for a new job? Next is avoidance conflict. Just like approach, which has two positives, avoidance has two negative. Both the options that you have are negative. So you have to, both are unequally unattractive. So you have to choose which you will rather prefer. For example, if you have a choice of accepting a job transfer or you have to leave the job. So both the choices are negative and you have to decide, a conflict goes in your mind which to accept. It is called a level of interpersonal conflict. And last is approach avoidance conflict, when with a single option, you have both positive and negatives attached. It is called approach avoidance conflict. So, for example, if you are accepting a job with a higher salary, and if you are going to get higher salary, you are going to get more responsibilities. So, higher salary is a positive thing. On the other hand, more responsibility is a negative thing. Then we have interpersonal level. At interpersonal level, the conflict is between two person or two individuals. When the point of view of one person is not similar to the other person's point of view, it is called a interpersonal level or interpersonal conflicts. For example, if there are two people working in a project and one person says that we should launch a project tomorrow itself, while the other person says that no, we should take 2 or 3 more days and work on the minute things related to the project, it is a conflict because they both have different point of view when it comes to their own project. But is it negative? No. If they are going to discuss their issues, if they are going to bring out new things from the project, it is not always negative. Next is intergroup. When the conflict is among different members or the groups of the organization. So say in organization, we have different departments. Say, for example, we have an HR department, then we have a finance department. So HR departments wants to spend X amount of money on the training of the employees, while the finance department is willing to deduct or is not willing to spend a lot of money on the training. So they are going to have a conflict on whether to sanction the money for the training or not. So it is going to be an intergroup level conflict because it is not between two people, rather it is between two groups or two departments. And last is inter-organizational level, when the conflicts are between two or more firms operating in the same market which have different expectations from the market. It is called inter-organizational level of the conflict. Then the main question comes that what causes the conflict. There is not single reason because of which conflicts occur. There are a lot of other reasons because of which conflicts occur in the organization, starting from misunderstanding, personality clashes, competition for resources, authority issues. So the major and the most important is misunderstanding. In the organization, when we do not understand other person, we misunderstand them, it causes a conflict. I'll give you an example. For example, your manager calls you in the morning and says that before you leave the organization, you need to meet me. Personality type people in a team, in organization. So maybe one person is someone who wants to be very quick in doing things, while the other person is someone who works on every detail, every minute. So the personalities are a lot of difference. So if they are going to be in one team, they are obviously going to have a conflict. One person will say that we should just quickly complete this work, while the other person will say no, we should take a lot of time and then work on every detail. So it is going to create a conflict. Next is competition for resources. When we talk about organizations or otherwise also, the resources are very scarce. And when every department or every person need that scarce resource for themselves, they are going to have conflict. I have just now given you example of the HR department and the finance department. So maybe the finances with the organization are limited, and HR department wants it for the training of the employee, while other department wants it for improvement in the technology. So this way they are going to have the conflict. Other cause of conflict could be authoritative issue. If there is no clear authority that who is going to give the final decisions or who is going to take the final decision, the conflicts are going to happen. And it basically happens when the rules and regulation of the roles and responsibilities of the employees are not clearly defined in the organization. Next is difference in the opinion. When different people have different opinions about a particular thing, see, different personalities, different people from different backgrounds have difference in opinion, and this creates a conflict. But these difference of opinions is good if they are handled in a constructive way. Then is low performance. See, for example, we are working in a team and we have a person who is not performing. You always feels like that it's me, only me who is doing the work every time, and they are just enjoying the success they get because of me. So you are going to have conflict because of this. And when your values or goals or your value system is different from each other, then also you are going to have conflicts. But the main thing is that it is not always the employees because of which the conflicts occur. It is sometimes the management also because of which the conflicts occur. And the reasons, the actions that management takes because of which the conflicts occur are poor communication, insufficient resources, conflicting values, and the leadership problems. So there are different people who respond to the conflict in different ways. Not every person respond to the conflict in a similar way. Say, for example, one person may avoid the person with whom he is having conflict. Somebody may change the subject. Somebody may just give in tiki, let it be, chalo, I am going to give in my point of view and I'm going to accept what he's saying. Some person is of the personality who is going to apologize ki okay fine, I do not want to fight and I'm sorry for what I did. So there are different ways in which the people respond to the conflicts. So when we talk about conflict, in the very beginning, I have told you that conflict always bad? No, it is not. It could be constructive. It depends on the outcome of the conflict, that is it constructive or is it destructive. So if conflict results in the clarification of the important problem or issues, or it results in the solution to the problem, or it causes authentic communication, or it helps in release in emotions, anxiety or stress of the people, we call it as a constructive conflict. While if the conflict takes away the attention from the main topic of discussion, or it undermines the self morale of a person, or it increases the differences between the person, we term it as a destructive conflict rather than a constructive conflict. So what decides, is it constructive or destructive? The results of the conflict decides whether the conflict was constructive or destructive. Now we have come to the heart of the session, that is different management styles of the conflict. If we by now we have understood that what is conflict, what is organizational conflict, what are the causes of conflict, how people react to the conflict. But the main thing is, if we are facing a conflict, what are the different ways to manage that conflict? What are the ways, what are the method that could be used to basically remove the conflict? So there are basically 5 ways or 5 styles for management conflicts. And do not assume that a good manager is the one who uses a particular style of management. Rather, a good manager is the one, or a good person is the one who sees that which style he should use in which situation. Every situation demands a different style of conflict management. So first one is force. So in force, what happens is that one party uses the force or the domination or the power on the other party to make him accept what they are saying. So this sort of conflict management style is good when you want an immediate action. You do not have time to discuss a lot of things. So when you want to take an immediate action or immediate decision, so you force the other person to accept what you are saying. But the problem is that in this particular style of management, there is one winner and one loser, and the loser is obviously going to be disheartened. Next style of management is avoidance. Avoidance is a method in which one person decides not to pay attention to the conflict. So I'll give you an example. For example, a manager sees 2 people fighting and he just ignores them fighting because he thinks that the emotions are really, really high this time and it needs time to cool down. Even if he is going to say something, the people fighting are not going to listen to him right now. So he basically avoids the situation and he do not interferes in the situation. But this situation, if you do not interfere or do you avoid the situation, the conflict remains unresolved. Next is accommodating. Accommodating is a sort of management style of conflict in which one party just gives up because the party values the relationship more than the topic of the conflict. He gives up, he accepts what the other person is saying, because if they are going to fight, obviously their relationship is going to be distorted, and people do not want, the one party doesn't want to destroy the relationship, or they value the relationship more than the topic of the conflict, so they give up. So one party agrees to the point of view of the other party even if they do not accept what they are saying. Next, fourth style of management of conflict is compromise. Compromise is basically a style of conflict management in which we find some middle path. So I'll give another example to you. See, I want to have a meeting with you at 10 a.m. while you want to have a meeting with me at 12. So if we are using compromise style of management, we are going to have a meeting at 11, neither at 10 nor at 12. We are going to find a in between way or in between path. That is at 11 a.m. we are going to have a meeting. So neither you are winning or losing, nor I am winning or losing. And last and most important and most efficient method of or style of conflict management is collaboration. In collaboration, nobody thinks of who is winning or who is losing. Everyone tries to find out the alternative that is best for everyone. So we are not, it is not that if I accept your point of view, I'm going to lose, or if you are, I'm going to accept yours, you are going to win. Rather, we are going to see all the alternatives, discuss it amongst each other, and find out the best solution or the best alternative, so that which is good for everyone. So in this collaborative style of management, both the parties are at win situation, both are at winning situation. Let's just take a quick recap of all the styles of conflict management, or the differentiation of the conflict management style that we have studied by now. So the forcing, that was first style of management, is just get your way. Avoid other person. We do not want to understand other person point of view. I just force you to get my things my way. Avoiding is avoiding to deal the conflict. You do not want to be taking part in the conflict. You are just a neutral person and you do not want to participate in the conflict. Next is accommodating. Accommodating is a type of management, conflict management style, where you don't want to upset the other party and therefore you accept what they are saying. Then compromising, you reach an agreement quickly by taking a middle ground or taking a middle road. And last is collaborating, when you solve the problem together by working on it together. That is called a collaborative style of management, conflict management. So by now we have understood that what is conflict, how to manage it, how to resolve it, what could be the reason, what people actually use to resolve a conflict. But the main thing is actually how do we resolve a conflict when we problem amongst each other. Second is to discuss the problem. Before finding out solution or coming to the solution, we must understand what problem actually is. We should not start discussing a wrong problem. Okay? Sometimes we do not understand what the main problem is. We just at a superlative level, we think that problem, this is the problem, that is the problem, but otherwise the underlying problem is a different thing. So we should basically first of all understand what actually the problem is. Then when we understand what actually the problem is, next step is to brainstorm a variety of options. Now that we know what the problem is, we need to find out different alternatives that could be the solution of the problem. We should not jump on a conclusion just like that. We should find out different alternatives which could be the solution of the problem. Next step is to, if now we have different alternatives, maybe we have 10 alternatives to solve the problem. Now we need to work on the solution. What alternative suits the best for both the parties? And then we are going to take that solution or take that alternative as the solution of the problem or the conflict. And last is to try the solution. Now you have decided that we are going to go with this solution or the alternative. We are going to implement it. See, while implementing the solution, it is not always necessary that solution is going to work. Sometimes the solution is not going to work. But in that case, you should not start blaming the other person. See, I told you this is not going to work. See, I told you that this is not going to work. This should not happen. You should understand that it is not always whatever you have taken as a resolution is going to work. If it doesn't work, you should rather go again and talk about it. You should again start looking at different alternatives and find out the other best solution for the problem, rather than just dealing or fighting or arguing on a particular problem or the conflicts. So this brings us to the end of this particular session or the presentation that I have prepared. Before summing up, I would like you to understand that from this complete session or the complete lecture that I have given you, I rather wanted you to understand that whenever by the start of the presentation, we thought that conflict is negative. But by the end of the presentation, I want you all to understand that conflicts are not always negative. There is a positive side to the conflict, and if the conflicts are dealt with properly in a constructive way, it is going to bring us a lot of more ideas, lot of new alternatives, which is going to work in the organization. So in organization, we do not want zero conflict, rather we want healthy conflicts and conflicts that could be dealt with in a healthy way. Thank you so much for the patient hearing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Aditi Gupta madam. It was very useful and effectively you have presented the topic. You have said about the details about the conflict, its types, situations, and basically how to solve it, how we use the situation to solve the conflict. And lastly, we have said that the conflicts are always not bad, but sometimes they are also good. So thank you for your I'm full from Kumar Swamy. Participants, those who are joined here, just to fill the chat box and they can discuss with our speaker on the topic, today's topic, conflict management. I welcome all to discuss with the speaker.
Anyone who has a query or a question, they can ask me or write it in the chat box. I'll be happy to answer you or resolve the query that you have. Anything?
Yes, sir, please.
Good evening, Dr. Betkar, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you very much for your presentation. Wonderful and very valuable presentation you have made. Because we cannot have life without conflicts. And if there are no conflicts, there is no construction. And there is no development, further development. So conflict, when we are talking about, you said that there are conflict in between two persons. Maybe the value differs from each other. Or maybe, the thoughts differ from each other, and that is how the conflicts are created. But sometimes these conflicts are also getting created in the human mind, that is called as the intrapersonal conflict. And there is one movie of Amir Khan, kya kare na kya kare mushkil hai. So that kind of conflicts appears in the human mind also. So many of the time it happens that we are having a wonderful lecture over here and we are having some wonderful movie in the so where we should go for, or maybe it has happened with us, Dr. Betkar sir, that the last final match World Cup is there and our presentation is there. So now what to attend fast, that conflict appears in everyone's mind and no one is free of conflict. So please talk about how we can resolve our own internal conflict. Can we go with the same thing, compromise and collaboration with the same features we can go with? And another thing is this conflict leaves the impact for a very long time. So sometimes some conflict appears in the family, and you'll find this person will develop the hypertension or he will develop some other condition from the conflict. So we call it as a psychosomatic condition. So what you think about, because they are not just a superficial things. Sometimes they goes in deeper into your psyche, and definitely it will have a great impact. So please comment on this, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So when we talk about intrapersonal conflicts, it is the conflict of different alternative or options that we have in our mind, which options to choose. So whenever we are going to deal with the intrapersonal conflict, the best option or the best thing that I feel is to write down or jot it down the positives and negatives of all the alternatives. So if you see if we have 5 positives of one option and 4 positives of one option, we need to choose what we prioritize in life. It depends basically on our priority. See, I gave you one example that you have a promotion one alternative as a promotion, and on the other hand, you have the other alternative of going for a new job for a more advanced or more salary. So it is your priority. Basically, you want recognition or you want monetary thing, right? So it depends on the every person mindset, and everyone, if he is going to meditate or he is going to think properly, he himself knows inside himself that what he actually wants. When we talk about negatives, I told you an option that is avoidance avoidance. When we have both the alternative that are negative, so there is one option that you have to take a transfer, or other option is to you maybe need, you have to demote yourself, right? Like in government jobs, if you want a promotion, you will have to take a transfer. That is an option. So it depends whether you are willing to leave your city, whether you are ready to leave your family at a place and go for the promotion, or you are going to be you prioritize your family. So it depends in your mind. It depends on your personality. It depends on your wants, your needs, what you want. And we have see, sir, in HR we have Maslow's need a hierarchy. If you have studied, it says that we have hierarchical need, which has physical needs, then psychological needs, safety needs, and self actualization need is at the top. So it depends which need you prioritize, and in that way you choose between the two things. And when it comes to your second question, that sometimes we make a choice which has a greater impact in our mind, and we go for, we may sometimes go in depression, anxiety issues, these things you have discussed. Sir, if we are very much aware of what we want and we have chosen that, we are not going to go in this depression and anxiety loop. If the reason why we go in anxiety and depression loop is if we have taken a decision under pressure, because of our family wants something, our friends want something, or the organization wants something. And if you are going to discuss, the first thing that I told you, that when you have an intrapersonal conflict, you should write it down or jot it down, what are the positives or negatives or the alternative. So whenever you are going to go in the loop of the depression or the anxiety, you go and check why I have chosen this thing. See, these are the positive things about this alternative, and because of these positive things, I have chosen this alternative. If I have chosen something else, I would have lost this, right? So if you are going to make your mind understand that you are here because you wanted this, you're not going to go into depression anyway. See, no solution, no alternative is perfect. आपको कुछ, if you're going to get something, you are going to lose something, right? So, because the example I gave, that if you are going to get a promotion, with promotion comes responsibility. So, if you have got recognition, you are going to get a little bit less time with your family, or you are going to get a less time with yourself. So, but if you know what positives you have got, you are not going to go and see the negatives of that particular thing. So I think this is, if I clearly understand the positives and the negatives of a particular option or the alternative or the conflict that was in my mind, I'm not going to go into this loop of depression or the anxiety. I hope I have answered what you were trying to ask.
Thank you very much, ma'am. And usually, you'll find with the ladies, when they are going to purchase some sari or something, so they get a conflict, which color I should choose and which sari I should purchase.
But then,
And
sir,
then, usually the conflict is resolved by purchasing both of them. Thank you very much.
But in life, we do not always get both the option. But when,
Yeah,
for
definitely.
example, if I know which color suits me more, I'm going to go for that one only.
Fine, absolutely fine, ma'am. Thank you very much for your great presentation.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Dr. sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, we also enjoyed your discussion, because conflict never ends. So we have to resolve the conflicts in our daily life or in organization or any other places where we find it in a good way. Thank you, sir, for your fruitful discussion. Now I invite another participant. He was raised his hand before few minutes. If anyone want to discuss with our speaker, they can discuss by unmuting themselves. Feedback link is working, which is available in the chat box. All are requested to fill the feedback link so that you will receive your certificates.
I think somebody has
Yes, yes. Somebody have written. I will.
a question in the chat box. It says that, ma'am, if in my workplace I got into a conflict, can I avoid it or accommodate it? See, if you avoid the conflict, it is not going to get resolved anywhere. Avoidance is not a way to deal with the conflict. For a time being, you can avoid the particular thing, but in future, then you are going to face it again. Then how many times you are going to avoid? So do not be never be an avoider of the conflict. Try to resolve it. Try to find out the solution of the problem. Do not just get away or move away or hide your face from the conflict. And if you say accommodate, if the conflict is with the person who is very much valuable to you, you should obviously value the relationship and you can accommodate. But for every person in the organization, if you are going to accommodate the conflict and if you are going to agree to what they are saying, or if you are going to accept to what they are saying, then you are going to be a person with no spine or with no point of view. Everybody is going to think of you of a someone who has no point of view. So I don't think, first thing, you should never avoid a conflict, and second thing, you can accommodate in a conflict if the relationship or the other person standing in front of you who has a difference in the opinion is very valuable to you. First of all, try to make him understand your point of view, and if he's not understanding your point of view, and if you think you can accommodate or you can agree to that person, and if that person is very valuable to you, you can definitely accommodate with him, but not always accommodate, because then everybody is going to take you for granted.
Thank you, ma'am, for discussing for asking the question in the chat box. If anyone want to discuss, they can unmute and discuss with our speaker. Thank you. Here I am seeing all the new members. Many members are new. Those who are joined here today, all are requested to fill the feedback link. I am thankful to Professor Praveen Kamble sir from Kumaraswamy Mahavidyalaya Osa. I am thankful to Dr. Harendra sir, Jiteji, Akash, Deepak sir, Preeti ma'am, Bhunesh, and Deepak, Paul Khuna, Murguwal, Aditya, Priyanjan, Surya Prakash Vyas sir, Arjun sir, and Shankar sir, Dhananjay sir, Supriti ma'am, Devi ma'am, Jaivir ji, BBA name, and there is Vandana ma'am who is also joined here. Thank you for coming here, and thank you ma'am for your valuable time to discuss with us on this important topic, and which can be helpful us to solve the situations where conflict occurs. At that time, the formulas you have given may be applicable, and we can do that in future also. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the invitation. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Thank you, all members. Tomorrow we will meet again at 7 p.m. Thank you to all. सर 26 का 27 तारखेला आहे ते आपल्या हिंदी मधला जो वेबिनार आहे ना, त्याची लिंक मी आजच टाकली होती, कारण तुम्हाला माहिती राहावं म्हणून. ते साहित्यावरचं आहे, हिंदीचं.
किती तारखेला सर? किती तारखेला सर? आवाज येत नाही सर.
26 तारखेला आहे, 26 ऑगस्टला हिंदीच्या साहित्यावरचं आहे. तुम्हाला ते पुन्हा विसरेल म्हणून आज मी शेअर केला. बरं झालं आज जॉईन झाला, ते काही हरकत नाही. हीच लिंक असते. हो सर.
हो सर. 7 वाजता ना?
7 वाजता, डेली 7 वाजता. पण त्या दिवशी 26ला तुमच्या संदर्भाने विषय आहे म्हणून आजच शेअर केलं होतं.
चालते जॉईन होतो सर. ओके, थँक्यू सर.
थँक्यू.
लिंक ग्रुपमध्ये हे करा सर, मला जॉईन करा.
ऍड करतो.
ओके, थँक्यू.
हो, थँक्यू. Thank you to all. Kindly fill the feedback link and we can join tomorrow also. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. You can leave. We are waiting for the participant to fill the feedback link. Those who have filled the feedback link, they can leave the meeting.